Welcome to another episode of Money You Should Ask. I'm your host, Bob Wheeler, and in this episode, we're going to explore, question, examine, converse, dig deep, expose, laugh, and cry about the money beliefs, money blocks, and life challenges of our next guest. Turn up the volume, listen, learn, and laugh. Our next guest is Dr. Lunide Louis. She is an amazing person, and I had the privilege of being on her show, Best Morning Routine Ever, which is a well-known podcast. She offers an innovative approach to personal development that doesn't just inspire you to change behaviors, but get deep into the subconscious that has been informing your behaviors since you were a child, so you can truly move into a new realm of purpose, potential, and power. She is the creator of the morning routine app, HitSavers, where you can accomplish 9 actionable items in 9 minutes in the morning to hack your day. Dr. Lunide, it is so awesome to have you on this show.
Bob, it's an honor to be here. It's good to see you again.
It's very nice to see you. I love your nice, calm energy, which I'm sure in the morning is a great thing when people are starting their day, to have a nice, calm energy supporting them.
Absolutely, because what we do the first 10 minutes of the day sets the tone. So we have to be intentional, and I am intentional about the tone I set for the day by starting with calmness, by starting with meditation, and actually letting that unfold, that peace unfold throughout the day. So thank you for recognizing that.
Absolutely. And I'm curious because I know that you spent part of your childhood in Haiti, and I don't know if growing up it was a nice, calm environment. So tell me a little bit about childhood. And did you dream of becoming a doctor? Did you dream of doing this work? Or what was the little girl in you aspiring for?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. In Haiti, I was born in Haiti, third world country out in the Caribbean. So being Haitian, we have, the Maslow hierarchical chart. We are, safety, food, shelter. Well, in Haiti, that's all you're concerned with, is you don't know where your next meal is coming from. And the shelter in which you live in is made out of plastic and hay. Right. And so if, say, you get the strong wind that day or you get a mudslide, you will be out of a home. So the focus was not about being self-actualized, was not about dreaming big, but mostly about safety. Yeah. Where's my safety and where can I find my next meal? Because it is a third world country. And so I live there with my parents and siblings. I'm the oldest out of 4 on my mom's side, who is a single mother, and then my dad's side has 12 kids. And in that culture, that's acceptable. Yeah. That's acceptable. So that's the norm. And so growing up in Haiti, focus was really, how do I survive today?
Do you know with your parents what gave them the impetus to say, let's pick up and leave the island? Because that's a big step.
Yes. Yes, it truly is. And so my parents wanted a better future. My parents wanted the opportunity for us, for the kids to actually live a better and different life. And so what happens, we got our visas. I was 10 years old. I remember clearly waking up on a Tuesday morning, and it was 4 a.m. And we got up, we had gotten our papers, our visas, and I was about to get on a plane for the first time at 10 years old. And to me, that was excitement. That was newness. That was something on the other side of this island that I'm about to be exposed to and I'm becoming aware of. And so driving to the airport, it's just energy of like excitement. And we get to, it's 90 degrees in Haiti. And then we get on a plane, we come to the United States, landed in New York City, and it was below 30 degrees in New York City. And talk about a culture shock. We get there, we are in our Sunday's best. We know we are in short dresses. We are wearing ankle socks. We are not prepared for what we landed in. And it was, we saw white stuff coming from the sky. We saw snow for the first time. The first day we landed in New York City, we experienced snow. And it was mind boggling to to see the difference in the two worlds and having to come to the United States. But that was the starting of the journey of like, there's possibility. There is more. There's the opportunity to attain more, besides to not worry just about your basic needs, but to actually want to reach your full potential and want to reach self-actualization and want to give back and contribute. So that's how that all started. Was that trip from Haiti to landing in New York City in 1995.
That is so awesome. And I'm curious, and I think you alluded to this, but after you were in the US for a couple of years, did you start to notice, or did you become aware that it was no longer, and maybe it wasn't, but it was no longer about just surviving?
It was no longer about surviving, but something more daunting stepped in. It was now poverty in a very lavish place. It was experience of poverty, of not having enough or not being able to get a job and maintain it, because my mother was a single mother with three other kids, and so she had to work nights to provide. And it always seemed like the money never stayed.
Yeah.
The money came, the sooner it came, the faster it was spent. And so now we're experiencing poverty, although being here in this great land. But my mom had a language barrier, so her jobs were limited on what she could get. And for me as a child, watching that, these subconscious beliefs started forming, where because I'm an immigrant, I cannot have certain things. What I want is not available to me. And that limiting beliefs really started influencing my behavior. And we can get into how it affected me at a later age. But those beliefs happen. They get instilled in us at a very young age without our permission.
Absolutely. And when your mom had this language barrier, and she's now brought you to this country where now poverty is very obvious, did she have limiting beliefs? Because she obviously believed strong enough that there was possibility and opportunity. And how much of the positive did you take in, or was most of her other beliefs once she got here more limiting? Like, what can you just share with me that emotional journey around finance and survival in new country?
Yes, absolutely. So I remember one time it was on a weekend and on a Saturday, and she would take us everywhere with her. So we were her translators, right? We would translate for health insurance, for anything related to the house. And so she would take us with her when she's running errands. And one time she took us downtown Brooklyn, and we were helping her get WIC, which is the government assistant program that she was on to help with buying food for us, the kids. And after we went through that appointment, she was qualified. So we went out. She took us out to lunch and to one spot that sells fish and chips. But when we were sitting there, we ordered, and we're sitting there. There is 5 of us, right? But we only ordered 2 plates of food.
Right.
Now, that is so clear in my mind today, Bob, because that really was when that negative belief started happening. That is affecting me. That affected me at an adult in my adult life, because I realized I wanted more food, but because we don't have the money, because we don't have the means, because we don't have the funds, we have to make do with just 2 plates which is just French fries and fried fish. Right? You get 2 pieces of fish on each plate, and there's 5 of us. So already it's scarce. That scarce mentality started kicking in. And at that moment, as a child, I'm thinking, I want more. I want to be able to eat a whole plate of food by myself if that's feasible. You understand? And so that moment really stuck with me, because it showed me that what I did not want.
Yeah.
And now I needed to find a way to change that.
And how did you go about doing that? Like, how did you start? You saw that you wanted something more. You saw that as an immigrant, I don't get as much choice. And you might have even gotten a message as a woman or as a person of color, limitations that other people might not experience. Then how did you take all that information in and say, I'm going to do better than what I'm being given?
Yeah, absolutely. All that did plague my reality, Bob. Yeah, being a Black woman, being an immigrant. Kids in school were teasing about being Haitian, and that didn't bother me much. It was more, now I am in this great land. My mother's telling me to go to school because that's what's going to give us the money or the freedom, the education that we need to get better jobs so we can be comfortable. So I took that on religiously. And so I started applying myself in school more. But one thing that I started doing is I would start reading novels at night, so I can expedite the learning process, so I can learn English faster, so that I can understand my classes a lot better, because I wanted to excel, because I knew this would be my ticket out of poverty, out of limiting beliefs. This education was the way out. And that's been ingrained in my mind as well. That's what I've been taught. As an immigrant, you go to school, you get an education, and then you can get a 9 to 5. You can make 40K to 90K a year. You're set. Life is good. Now, I follow suit. I did all that. However, I was still limited. I still found myself broke after making the $75,000 a year. I could not keep the money because that's what I saw growing up. Money would come into the home, and then before the next paycheck, it's gone.
And even now, are you aware of any beliefs that still try to creep in sometimes? Is there still sometimes the mindset of, I shouldn't get the whole plate?
Yeah. And it comes in my business, whether or not I decide to increase my prices or not.
Right.
The whole notion of, am I worthy of it? Do I deserve it? Comes into play in my own business. So it shows you how powerful these programmings are. Right? Because it starts at such an early age that it's in its subconscious, right? You imagine we are operating out of the subconscious mind 95% of the day. And that is done because the brain wants to protect us, and the brain wants to free up our conscious mind so we can learn new things, so we can better navigate the world. So without our permission, right? We are operating in this auto tape, auto programming. So when it comes for me to charge higher for my services, for my book, that nagging voice would want to stick in and says, you don't deserve it. Why are you trying charging higher? Why do you're not worthy of it? That thought comes up, and then that's when immediately, that we were talking about neurolinguistic earlier, that's where the program that I've developed called the habit rewiring, where we can actually go into the subconscious mind and interrupt that.
Yes.
That interruption is the key to actually eradicating those negative programming that is happening behind the scenes.
Absolutely. And I always refer to it as a hiccup. Like when I'm working with people in my workshops, I'm trying to create a hiccup so that that's the moment when I can catch it and then make a conscious, intentional choice instead of repeating the cycle. But we have to be paying attention so we can have the hiccup.
Right. We have to become aware that it is happening. And so with the program that I offer with habit rewiring, I actually take you through the process of, one, identifying where the root cause is of that limiting belief. Like for me, it was being born out of poverty. For me, it was sitting in that restaurant in Brooklyn in 1996. For me, it's whenever I cannot have a full plate of food if I desire. That is ingrained in me. So I take my clients through this process of going to the root cause. Let's find out where this negative belief started. And then once we become aware of it, we have to, as you said, the hiccup, do the interruption. Yeah. We interrupted that process, and then we have to, once you interrupt it, you can't leave it alone, because now you have a void. You have to instill new beliefs, new positive, not just affirmations, but declarations upon your life. And that's something we must do on a daily basis, Bob, because we have 60,000 thoughts per day.
Wow.
Okay. And we are waking up every morning with the same thoughts we had yesterday. Now, it's almost impossible to try to be a different person or try to implement new habits if your belief system is the same, if your negative self-talk is the same. You see?
Yeah. So how do you get the negative self-talk out? Like, because there's 60,000 ideas and you're bringing them over from yesterday and you're copying back from last week. And now you're trying to rewire and you're trying to say, thank you, negative voice, but I don't need you anymore. Like, what is, besides the interruption, what are some of the ways that people can start to be aware that they need, that, you know, if they want to change these old thoughts or these negative thoughts, to start moving towards a different thought?
This is my favorite part, Bob. I'm glad you brought it up. One of my favorite topics. Now, as we are in the process of that interruption, first we've acknowledged the thought, the root cause. We're like detectives. We found it. And now we are in the interruption piece of it. Now, the best part, and before I get right into the best part, Bob, this is the reason why we cannot build effective habits with ease. This is the reason why we can't build morning routines without falling off the wagon after the second day. This is the reason why we can't be consistent with healthy money habits. This is the reason why we can't have healthy relationships, because these are the reason behind why we are not living to that full potential of who we can be, because we haven't gone this last piece that I'm going to talk about right now. And this last piece, Bob, is instrumental because you have to upgrade the child. You see, this child has been living in this lack, this scarcity, this limiting belief. I am not enough. I don't deserve it. I am not loved. My parent yelled at me. They didn't love me. They weren't there for me. They didn't make time for me. We've actually made these conclusions so early on that this child has been living in that state of mind for so long, for decades, right? And so one of the biggest steps is to do after becoming aware of it and the interruption process is actually upgrading the child. Upgrading the child to who you are planning to be. So there has to be the shift, because if you change your mind, you change your life. So this is the process of actually changing the subconscious mind, changing on a deeper level. And once that takes place, your identity will become different. You know, for morning routines in particular, people will say, I'm not a morning person. That's a negative belief. That has become your identity, because beliefs repeated over and over becomes our identity, becomes who we are. So you have this belief, which is your identity, that I'm not a morning person, or I'm bad with money. I can't manage my money. I don't make enough money. That becomes who you now believe you are. So when we instill and upgrade new beliefs and upgrade the child to the person that we aspire to be, then our identity begin to shift from a lack mindset from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And it's constant. You have to do it on a daily basis. It's just like taking a shower. Zig Ziglar says this: motivation is just like taking a shower. It does not last. And so we have to constantly be doing the work. Whenever a negative thought pops up, be able to reframe it. You know, identifying that that's not who I am, because the mission or the goal is. I want to give an example of somebody who wants to get up and go running. You're more attracted to. You have to become a runner. That has to become your identity for you to do it. And that happens when you are repeating it over and over again, day in and day out. Then you own that identity. I'm a runner. So running becomes easy for you. When you're stressed, you go out for a run to relieve your stress. So that's that marvelous shift that takes place because you are in the process of shifting your identity and your personality. And once that happens, then sky's the limit. The potential is revealed. It's unveiled. It's unfolded before you. You realize how much you're capable of or what you're capable of. So it's pretty fantastic with that once that process goes into effect. So I get my clients to actually come up with new identities, new affirmations, new declarations that they have to listen to for 21 days because it takes 21 days for neuron pathways to actually connect and new neurons to the pathways to connect. And so they listen to that for 21 days and it's almost immediately the clients that I talk to, the change is immediate. I have clients who come to me because they feel stuck. They feel stagnant in their life, like they're not in control of their minds because it does get away with us. And I'll have a session with them and they go off to start a new business. They go off to lose 30 pounds. That's not why they came to see me. But that was a byproduct of getting unstuck. That was a byproduct of releasing and eliminating those negative beliefs that was unconsciously directing their decision making. Their bad habits.
Yeah, and I like what you're saying. For me, when I want to get in shape or when I want to lose weight, the way I look at it is I become obsessed with it. Like I buy all the books and put them by the bed. I put notes up so that I keep reminding myself to become obsessed with it so that it gets absorbed into the system, maybe over on almost overdrive so that when I can relax into it, I'm now more conscious of my health or I'm more conscious of my saving.
And that's what we call exposure therapy in psychology. You're making it obvious. And that's how you build on your effective habits, by making it easy, by making it obvious, by making it attractive. Because our environment plays such a key role in who we become. You ever heard people say, you're the product of your environment? Well, that is true. There is some truth to that. If you ever walked into your living room, your environment is constructed so you can relax and sit in front of the TV. Where's the couch facing? In front of the TV. How big is the TV? The size of the wall. So you're supposed to be immersed in that environment and actually lose yourself. So environment is so crucial. And so what you did, Bob, with when it comes to your health, buying the books, putting them on your nightstand, making them visible, that's you priming your environment for your success. And that's important. I'm so glad you brought it up because we undermine the importance of actually setting up our environment to be productive. Actually cleaning the dishes the night before, making sure you wake up to a clean home. That way, in the morning, you don't have to frantically trying to find anything. It's there ready for you because in the morning, your most precious goal is your willpower. You do not want to experience decision fatigue first thing in the morning because you're trying to find your keys. You're trying to find your meals. You're trying to find the clothes you want to wear so you can go for that run. Any of those behaviors will decrease your chances of executing. And your willpower it gets dwindled down throughout the day because of that fatigue. Like Steve Jobs wears the same shirt or the same color shirt every day. Mark Zuckerberg wears the same color shirt, wear the same thing because they're not worried about spending their most golden, precious willpower in the morning trying to figure out what to wear or whether they're going to go work out. The decision was made the night before.
How important is that to set that mindset up the night before? In other words, it's great in the morning. We wake up, we create some habits, we do some affirmations. But before we go to bed, what can we do to help cultivate the next day being amazing?
Yeah, very good question. And it's so surprising that a lot of the entrepreneurs like yourself, when you came on the show and you said it, the morning routine starts the night before. You remember
Yeah.
that? Like, it's so true because you really have to set yourself up the night before. And that entails two things, Bob. It entails getting a good night's sleep, but also planning for the following day. And so planning include putting the shoes by the door before you go to bed, putting that glass of water on your nightstand so you can hydrate first thing in the morning so you can get rid of brain fog. Putting that book next to your pillow, next to your bed so that you can get up and actually read for 10 minutes in the morning. And all that is prepping and priming your environment, but also preparing the night before. Some people go the extra mile by actually sleeping in their gym clothes. They do. Talking about hacking your body, your mind for success, right? You're tricking the body because the body is just going to adhere to what the mind decides. And I think we forget that. We so quickly give in to the body's aches and pains and, oh, I don't feel like it. That's the body. I don't feel like it. Like, I don't want to do this. And then we surrender to that when we should actually be hacking the brain to automate the things around us, set up our environment so that the brain knows this is the next course of action. So body, whether you're ready or not to get out of this bed, we're moving. And then you realize the minute that you're on the go, you're moving, the body, again, is obedient. It's going to obey what the mind is telling it to do. And that's our biggest trick. We don't know how to control, to liberate the mind, not even control. Let me choose my words wisely. To liberate the mind because it is trapped. It is riddled with negative beliefs. It is riddled with reasons why you don't want to do things because it's simply as a mammal, it's just trying to keep you safe, honestly. Right,
Yeah.
Bob? The brain is just there to keep you safe. And so the second piece about the morning routine starting the night before is I'm about to debunk one of the biggest myths, the biggest lie we've ever been told is to have a morning routine or to be productive, to have a successful or to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to be a morning person. That's a lie because everybody is created differently. We have different chronotypes, right? We have different times of the day when we're most productive. And I think a lot of people fail to realize that. And that's one of the things, the minute you come on board with me on one of my programs, I find out what your chronotype is. When is the best time for you to wake up? When is the best time for you to do hard, deep work? When is the best time to check emails? When's the best time to eat? Because you want to actually optimize your energy. And so the chronotypes, there's 4 different ones. You can be a lion, a bear, a wolf, and a dolphin. And they all wake up at different times of the day. And they all go to sleep at different times of the day. And so a lot of people are misled thinking that, oh, I have to go to sleep at 9 o'clock every night and I have to wake up at 4 a.m. every morning if I want a shot at this success, life, and happiness and self-actualization. And that's a huge lie because I myself, I'm a lion. I'm up. I'm the one that is up at 4 or 5 a.m., but I'm also tired by 6 o'clock. I can't even remember my name because my productivity is best during the morning, right? Then you have a bear that will wake up at 6 o'clock, but can work till 11 o'clock with no problem. And the most outlier is the wolf. The wolf does not start getting productive until 5 p.m. Now, that doesn't work for a 9 to 5 because people are getting out of work at that time. Between 9 and midnight is when the wolf can actually do the most critical work. But they are also going to sleep at midnight and they're waking up. They're waking up at 7:30 or 8 o'clock. And I want to let people know that that's okay. That is your circadian clock. That is your internal clock. So we learn to work with our bodies instead of against it. Trying to fit a box, trying to be a cookie cutter. You know what I mean? So we individualize each plan for everyone on how they are designed genetically.
I love that. And I want to bring it back to you. And I'm curious if and when you had that moment, remembering that time in Brooklyn buying the 2 plates for 5 people, the first time that you bought a plate for everybody, or a plate for you and a plate for your mom. Like, do you remember consciously at one point saying, oh my gosh, I'm in a different place?
Yes, yes, I do remember that moment, and it was the I was living in San Diego at the time. I had moved out in San Diego from the East Coast to pursue my PhD in business psychology, and this was in 2015. I remember upon graduation, I wanted my whole family here. They had never been to California. I moved out here by myself, and they haven't seen me in 4 6 years, and so I remember paying not just for everyone to eat, but paying for their flight, paying for everyone to come over to my graduation. And we enjoyed the week together where we went to SeaWorld. We did all this family activities because it was that moment I realized, okay, this is a different lifestyle. This is a different way of not having or having to buy two plates. Now everybody gets their own plate. And guess what? We get to choose. You want a different restaurant? Let's do it with no problem. And it was really that moment of having to pay for them to fly from the East Coast to get here too. So it was really an empowering feeling to actually have combated that belief, that negative belief that I cannot have these things that are available for me. Because honestly, all we truly want is to make the people in our lives happy and to live a comfortable life. And if for us, if that success is being able to provide for our family, then we've reached it.
I'm sure that your mom was incredibly proud.
She truly was. She truly was.
That's so beautiful. We are at our Fast Five, and I want to shift a little bit and just ask you a few questions that are just top of the mind.
Sure.
What's the last thing you do each night before you climb into bed?
I look at my goals. I look at my goals. I have my goals written out in a journal that I pull up every night. I look at them 3 times a day, actually, in the morning, lunchtime, and at night. And at night, I open up the app where I have the screenshot saved, and I look at my year goal and my year 1 and my year 2 goals. And then I have a list of affirmations that I speak over my life before going to sleep. And that has helped me to stay calm. That has helped me to be happy. That has helped me to live my purpose. Because again, I told you, just like taking a shower, that daily work of eradicating those negative beliefs, because they're programmed. And so I do that nightly by looking at my goals and also reading my list of affirmations.
So important. So important. So everybody out there, take note, set some intentionality.
Yeah, because the subconscious mind is working for you all the time. So before you go to sleep, you better give it something to work for, or else you're going to be having these nightmares. Your mind's going to wander because the subconscious mind doesn't sleep. So I think it's Edison that said, never go to sleep without a request to your mind. And so that's what that is for me. I'm telling my mind, these are my goals. These are the things that I want to accomplish. I don't know how that's going to happen, but I trust that the universe is going to provide and make that happen. Give me the equipment with the skills, the talent, the people, the resources to make that happen. So I have that trust in the process. But Bob, you're going to love this, because my goals are my financial goals. How much money I want to make in 2021, how much money I want to make in 2022, and then how many clients do I need to serve to make that happen?
That's awesome. Very intentional and very conscious. So I really appreciate that. All right. This is crazy, but are you related or distant related to anybody super famous?
I am not related to anybody super famous. Not that I know of.
Okay.
Are you, Bob?
Not that I know of. Not that anybody else would know. Famous in their own minds. Can you give me, do you have a favorite quote that you love?
I do. I do have a favorite quote, and the quote is Maya Angelou, and it says, people will, you know that one? Yes.
Love
and
her.
I'm about to butcher it, but people will remember what you say, but they won't remember what you say, but they will remember how you made them feel. plagiarizing, but that's along the line of what she says. And that quote is super important because it shows us that the importance of treating others well. And treating ourselves well, because you can't give what you don't have. And if you're not good to yourself, you're not going to be good to other people.
Who is your favorite cartoon character and why?
Spongebob. SpongeBob is my favorite character because he's so oblivious to reality. He's so like always in La La Land. He's so optimistic. He's so happy. He always sees the silver lining in every situation. And he teaches me how to be a kid. He teaches me how to be a child. He teaches me how to tap into that inner beauty of innocence.
That is awesome. What was your last impulse buy?
Oh boy, I bought a pair of Louis Vuitton red bottom shoes for my wedding.
And was it worth it?
And they are so gorgeous. Absolutely. # worth it.
I love that.
It's a sign of status too, Bob. It's overcoming that limiting belief that you don't deserve certain things, you don't deserve nice things. And for me, that was the corporate of what, hey, I can now afford this, so this is awesome, this is amazing, I am actually improving. And it's a reminder because I have it in the middle, like in sight, in the living room where I can see the red bottoms. Because it's a status.
That's awesome. It's reaffirming. And I think that's great. Let me ask you this. We're at our sweet spot M&M moment, money and motivation. And I'm wondering if you have a practical financial tip or a piece of wealth wisdom, something that has worked for you that our listeners could take away with them.
Yes. Two of them. One, if you're bad with money, marry somebody who is good with money. Okay. That's the number one tip. I am now recently married. It's going to be 6 months, and I'm realizing how much my husband knows about it and how much he does such an awesome job at managing our finances compared to how I was doing it. I thought I improved. I thought I got better, right? Because I'm coming from lack and poverty and not knowing anything. And I get with him and he's on a whole different level. So marry someone that knows financing and how to budget and manage your money. The other piece is it's okay to put aside immediate gratification for long-term benefits.
Absolutely. And if you don't want to marry them, just date them a really long time. So you can get all their information.
Yeah. Cohabitate.
Cohabitate. Yes. Glean the information. And I definitely think delayed gratification is something in this country and most countries, but I think especially in the US, we could all benefit from more delayed gratification instead of having to have everything in the moment, so that we actually appreciate what we do have.
I was going to say, this is where the second model of thinking comes from, right? The same thing with building habits. We're so quick. We want to eat that donut because it's going to be delicious and satisfying versus having the apple where you don't see the immediate results. It's really 3 months later that you saw the end result of the habit actually working versus right now we are so like, immediate gratification, give it to me now. I want to feel it now. I want pleasure now. I want fun now. And then it costs us on the long run versus if we actually mitigate that, think about it a little bit and rationing it out, then the benefits long term will be so much more bigger than the results or the gratification in the moment.
Well, absolutely. And I can think of that definitely the donut is more sexy in the moment than the apple. But 3 months later, I'm probably going to not be as sexy if I had the donut than if I had the apple.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Where can people find you on social media and online? And you have a book. Tell us about that.
Yes, sure. People can find me on social media, Best Morning Routine Ever. That's my social handle for Twitter, IG, Facebook, Best Morning Routine. And also where you're listening to this podcast, the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast is being aired. It comes out twice a week. So tune in there for some amazing tips on how successful entrepreneurs like Bob, yourself, comes on and tell us the tricks and hacks on how to optimize our performance, our productivity, and essentially our life. And so that's aired on or wherever podcasts is available. But also going into LunideLouis.com, you'll see the work that I do with habit rewiring. I do it for business owners. I do it for individuals as well. But we simply start by identifying what your circadian clock is, and we go from there. And it helps with the business development, personal goals, all that good stuff. And also on the website, you can get the copy of the book for free. It's called The Habit. The Power of Your Habit Will Control Your Destiny is what it's called. And it talks about morning tips and how one little habit done every day, how it can have a lifetime effect on your life. So powerful read. Go on LunideLouis.com or bestmorningroutineever.com and you'll find a lot of freebies. I have a good report on 10 things you must know before starting a morning routine.
Awesome. Well, we will be sure to put all of that up in our notes and information, and we'll push that out. I want to say to our listeners, please don't forget to share the love. Like, follow, and share on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Search for Money You Should Ask, all one word. Subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast player or visit Apple Podcasts and search for Money You Should Ask or click on the link in the description. If you're watching this episode on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. For more tips, tools, or how to learn how to have a healthy relationship with money, visit themoneynerve.com. That's nerve, not nerd. I'm often a nerd, but it's themoneynerve.com. Dr. Lunide, it has been such a pleasure. I so appreciate you sharing your story and this wonderful information, and I really appreciate it on behalf of all the listeners.
It's been my pleasure, Bob. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for having me on this amazing show.